We're now in day 7 of the Trump White House. The first 100 days of any presidency has become a benchmark for success and can set the tone for an entire administration. Some of our country's most popular presidents face intense challenges in their first 100 days, but battled through them and were better for it. Tonight we're beginning a series on just that called The First 100 Days. It features the firsthand accounts of people who experienced those 100 days inside of the White House and those who studied them from the outside. We start with the presidency of John F. Kennedy.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
And will, to the best of your ability,
and will, to the best of my ability.
The theme, of course, of Kennedy, we're going to get the country moving again. It was a spark, and there was that sense of youth, that feeling of, okay, we're moving to something younger and hopefully better.
The day of inauguration was bitterly cold, and Kennedy did not wear an overcoat. So we had to go with our overcoats too. So I was freezing most of the day. But he seemed to had an inner warmth that was coming from the fact that he was about to become President of the United States.
There was a symbolism involved in JFK's refusal to wear a coat and a hat.
John F. Kennedy was very sick. Kennedy just hid a lot of his illnesses. We now know he had Addison's disease. Anytime you see John F. Kennedy as president, there's a great chance at that very moment he's suffering.
And in order to dispel that sense that maybe he wasn't as healthy as he appeared on the surface, I think the lack of a coat and the lack of a hat suggested that I'm vigorous, I'm strong, here I am.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
so help you God.
So help me God.
I was a senior in high school when Kennedy was inaugurated, and I remember listening to that, and the line resonates, let the word go forth.
That the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace.
And that was a real kind of jolt.
The whole country had a sense of possibility. Kennedy, proud of his attitude, his youth, his programs, all of it together, made people think they were better than they thought they were. And that was his greatest achievement.
My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Kennedy's election represented, I think, an inspiration and vitality of a new generation coming into power. It was not simply the soaring rhetoric of the inauguration, which promised a lot of action and motion and new directions, but it was the idea that the youngest president ever elected was coming into office right after the oldest president, Eisenhower, at 70, was leaving office. So there was a sense of activism, a sense of citizen involvement, and a sense that there'd be a change from the silent generation of the 50s.
Good evening, my fellow citizens.
Then had his first great success in space when the Russians pushed a man across the threshold. He was Yuri Gagarin, the astronaut the Russians lionized as the first to orbit the Earth.
Kennedy had campaigned in 1960 against what he called the missile gap, that we were behind the Soviets, and that we were in a very dangerous situation.
Lo and behold, he's president, and the Soviet Union puts Yuri Gagarin into space, and we look like we are way behind on the space race, and Kennedy's there holding the bag.
I do not regard the first man in space as a sign of the weakening of the free world.
The space challenge, which had begun with Sputnik in the 1950s, really was a proxy for the Cold War. It meant that Russia seemed to be ahead of us. So another blow for the Kennedys during that first 100 days was that a Russian cosmonaut goes up into space.
I know he was convinced that the battle of the Cold War was also a battle for prestige.
It also reminded us that the Soviets built up their military, and they were an existential threat to the United States with their weapons. So to put a man in space, that really suggested they're right on our tail.
It was the propaganda coup of the year.
Within just 10-day or so period, Kennedy had two black eyes. He had the Soviet Union putting Gagarin in space, and he had the Bay of Pigs fiasco.
The Bay of Pigs fiasco, it has become a cautionary tale for any president and shorthand in Washington for utter and complete failure.